But what happened the last couple of weeks is that the whole economy, like the world economy as a whole, is all shifted to pain. Like everyone's now in fear and in pain and kind of freaking out. And so you look at now, if you keep talking about how your products can move someone towards pleasure, like for most people, they're not listening to that right now. They're in so much pain. They don't care about pleasure. They just want to get out of pain. And so if you shift your marketing to explain like how the product or service that I sell right now will get you out of pain, then people will listen. Like that's what they're looking for. That's the hooks that they're going to be responding to right now, not the other way around.
Welcome to the Midi Money podcast. Today's interview is with Russell Brunson. Chances are, if you've heard me talk about my story or just about anything, I've probably mentioned him. He's been a huge, huge mentor to me and really kind of opened up my eyes to the whole world of really marketing, funnels, entrepreneurship, and just had a huge impact on my business, on my life, all kinds of stuff. So it's really cool to be able to bring him on the podcast. Now, this interview was actually recorded in March of 2020. And we recorded it right when Russell dropped his newest book called Trilogy Secrets. So a main focus of the conversation is on driving traffic and about that book. And traffic is something that, of course, it's just so important because you can have the best beats in the world. You can even have the craziest funnel in the world. But if you're not driving traffic, if you're not getting people there, it doesn't really matter. So I know there's a lot of gems in here that you guys are going to love. And I did want to touch on one topic that I learned from Russell about traffic that we didn't talk about in this interview before we get into it, because I think it's so important, which is this idea of the Dream 100. And basically the concept is, think about who are the top 100 people or brands or platforms that already have your ideal customer or fans, right? So if you're a producer selling beats online, that might be other producers who are selling beats online. It could be brands like microphone manufacturers. Maybe it's influencers and people on YouTube who teach rappers about how to rap and how to promote themselves, right? All these people that already have amassed this huge following of thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of rappers and singers that now, once you know who those people are, now you can create relationships with them. You can give them value and actually get your products and services, your beats, and the other thing that you're offering in front of their audience and make it a win-win for everybody. And that's something that has been a huge key for me with Legion Beats. You know, the way that we've been able to do, these six-figure launches and stuff like that is because of that exact concept, is because I've been able to bring value to other producers or those types of influencers, other people that have that audience, and then they then send that traffic towards me, right? And so I just want you to, really think about that. Like, who are those people, those brands, those platforms, and how can you start to develop relationships with them to where you're giving value to them, you're giving value to their audience, and therefore you're able to get in front of that audience and bring them towards you. It's been such a huge key for me, and it's been cool to see how that's been growing more and more in the music producer community. For me, a few years ago, it felt like it was sort of me and then Anno Domini, of course, was like near the top, if not the top of my Dream 100. Like, this is somebody I know has my audience. And so I was able to, cultivate that relationship. And that was, how we were able to do a lot of these big launches and stuff, is because he was sending me his traffic. And now, now we've got more and more producers. Wishmaster did a launch not too long ago that was incredible. And because, he's brought me so much value as somebody who's, a part of Midi Money and now a Midi Money coach, and that he's taking the concepts that me and Anno Domini are teaching and applied them and been so successful. It's, it's value for both of us. And so, of course, both me and AD were happy to send him traffic for that launch. And that ended up going crazy. By the way, I'm going to have him on. We're going to do a whole podcast about it because he went nuts. It went really good. But again, it's this concept of Dream 100. How can you bring value, to other people who have your audience? And in fact, Russell Brunson, to kind of bring it back around, is somebody who's certainly on my Dream 100, right? I have kind of like three audiences, right? I have rappers and singers with Legion Beats, music producers, of course, with Midi Money. And then I also have an audience of entrepreneurs, marketers, business owners. And that's kind of a newer business that I've been working on. But, Russell Brunson's right at the top of my Dream 100 for that, right? So it's like, okay, how can I bring this guy value? And eventually that earned me the ability to, speak at Funnel Hacking Live, which was this huge marketing conference back in the beginning of this year, where, I got on stage in front of 5,000 people and got to, teach and kind of, be positioned in front of his audience because I brought value, right? He also had his video production team create a whole little mini documentary about what we're doing, which came out really, really good, by the way. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, please go check that out. But, the point is, it's by bringing him value, he's brought me value. And not only that, now that we've built this platform, now that we have, this incredible audience and community of music producers and artists and entrepreneurs, now I'm kind of on Russell's Dream 100, right? That's why he was happy to do this interview, is because, he wants to get the word out about this book and about his message, about who he is. And so there's value for him to come be on my podcast, to be interviewed by me, right? And so, and we helped him sell a bunch of books, which again, it's win-win-win, right? It's like, this book, I couldn't, I absolutely endorse it 100%. And it's something where I'm bringing value to him. He's bringing value to me. It's just, it's value to the audience. It's value for everybody. So, I would invite you to think about that. Think about that Dream 100. Who are the people that already have your audience that you can start to work with, that you can create, working relationship with? And then also, enjoy the podcast, enjoy the interview, taking the gems, at face value, because he gives a ton of them, but also, look at the dynamic as far as how we're talking and stuff, and start thinking about, like, okay, in the context of us being in each other's Dream 100, kind of look at like what we're talking about on the surface, but also below the surface, because that's part of the game too, right? Is like, okay, how can we bring each other value? And to me, that's like half the fun. Again, is like, you listen to what's on the surface and what are the gems, and there's some gems in there for sure, but also like, okay, what's the dynamic that's going on, and how are both of us, me and Russell, leveraging the situation into something that's a win-win for everybody. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoy this. I think you will. Russell is, anyways, you'll hear, I give him quite the intro, and it's all 100% true. So please enjoy the podcast, enjoy the interview with Russell Brunson. What's up, everyone? I cannot be more excited because today I am going to be interviewing Russell Brunson. Now, this guy needs absolutely no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways. He's been in this game for 15 plus years, something like that. He's got a following of well over 1 million entrepreneurs. He's sold hundreds of thousands of copies of these two books, Expert Secrets and .com Secrets. I'm guessing at the time of the recording, we're at tens of thousands of this one, which we'll definitely get into more in a minute. This is the man who popularized the concept of sales funnels, which completely revolutionized and transformed the way that business is done today. He's the co-founder of ClickFunnels, which, if I understand correctly, is the fastest growing software company in history that didn't take on funding. For me personally, this is a man who changed my life like at least twice. Made me fall in love with marketing, saved my dream of making a living from music. I would not be doing what I love today if it wasn't for the things that he showed me. And really, by following the playbook, by following what I learned in this, I was able to build Legion Beats into the 7-figure business that it is today. And then from there, he showed me how to help thousands of others to do the same by following the framework in this book, Expert Secrets. He's opened up a level of success and possibilities and things that I never even dreamed were possible for myself, and he's made it possible. This is somebody who's had a huge, massive impact. His legacy, what he's done is, my primary number one inspiration, and I know it is to tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of other people as well. Please welcome Russell Brunson.
Hey, thanks, man. That was amazing. You should introduce me everywhere. I love that. Well, I just want to say really quick how impressed I've been with you. It's been so much fun just watching you, and it means the world to me to, I've been trying to figure these things out for myself, and you share them with others, and we see somebody take them and run with them, and like and not only transform themselves, but then transform a whole industry, which is exactly what you're doing right now. Like there's no greater gift you can give someone than that. So I want to thank you for that. And just, it's so much fun watching you, and just grateful for you taking it and figuring out the tweaks you got to make for your industry, and showing those guys how to do it as well. It's super cool.
Awesome. Thank you, man. All right, cool. We got through the awkward part. Let's get into it. How you doing, man? How you holding up? This is weird, right? We're all in quarantine.
It is weird.
You doing all right?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, because like my kids, I can hear them out the door, and like I feel guilty if I want to go play with them. But then it's also like nice because like in between, calls and stuff, I can go run out there and play. And but overall, it's been good. It's been a good reset, I think, to for everyone to come home and slow down a little bit, and it's good, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And it gives you a little chance to talk about your new book, Traffic Secrets. Ooh, and you've got the box set and the hardcover, which we'll talk about in a second. So man, let's get into it. So obviously you guys heard from this intro, like the impact that these two books have had on my life is just absolutely insane. So when I found out Russell was coming out with a third book, I could not be more excited, like literally than, I never got into like Harry Potter or anything like that, where people were like out the door, like, oh, I can't wait for the new book to come out. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like this book to me is like, oh my God, so excited. So, first of all, what is like for you for writing a book? I imagine it's got to be extremely hard. I've never written a book myself. So first of all, I'm wondering like, what's that process like? How hard is it? And specifically, how hard is it to write a book about traffic, a topic that changes like every day? Like the tactics that work today don't work tomorrow. So like so what's the challenges of writing a book, period, and one that's about a topic that's constantly changing?
Yeah, it's funny. Every time I write a book, I swear I'll never write a book again. Cause like I think it's like having a baby. Like my wife, after we had twins at Allegation, she's like, we're never having kids again. And then a few months later, you're like, oh, okay. Cause I wrote the .com secrets book. I'll never do it again. And then 2 years later, I'm like, okay, Expert Secrets book. And then I was like, I'll never do it again. It was crazy. Cause it was the second day of the Expert Secrets book launch that my friend emailed me. His name's John Reese. He was the guy who owned trafficsecrets.com. And he was the first person in like the internet marketing industry to do $1 million in a day. And he did it, by selling a course called Traffic Secrets. And he emailed me this day and he's like, hey, I'm thinking of selling my company. Do you want to buy Traffic Secrets from me? And I was like, and I remember going into my team, I was like, remember I said I'm never writing a book again? They're like, yeah. I'm like, we have one more book. There's one more book in the trilogy. It's called Traffic Secrets. John's going to sell us a domain name. We have to do it. And then it was like, it just made so much sense. But then I literally sat on it for a year because exactly what you said. I'm like, how do you write a book about something that changes all the time that can actually be evergreen? And I was so stressed. I'm like, I want to make something good that lasts beyond the moment and beyond like the week or the year, something that will last, for forever. And so I was really nervous about that. And I kept thinking like, how do you do it? Because the tactics change so much. And then I started thinking back about like how I learned traffic. Because I've been in, I think it's like 16 or 17 years I've been in this game now. But, and I think most people think about traffic, think about Facebook ads or Instagram. Before Facebook, there was MySpace. Before MySpace, there was Friendster. And before Friendster is like when I got started. And I was like, how did I like learn traffic? And how come I've seen so many companies come and go over the decade and a half of doing this. Like, how have we been able to be relevant and be around for so long? And I started thinking back about how I learned from these old school marketers like Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer and Gary Halbert and all these people. And I remember I joined Dan Kennedy's mastermind group. And I remember sitting there and I was the only internet guy. And I sit in this group and people were talking about like direct mail and newspaper and radio ads. And I still remember one of the things that Dan told me. He said, you internet guys think that the internet is a business. He's like, you're missing the point. It's like, internet is just a media channel, just like the radio or TV or direct mail. Like they're all just channels. He's like, when you understand that and you respect that, he's like, you'll realize that the things that make direct mail great are the same things that make the internet great, things that make radio great. Like it's just a media channel, and there's strategies that have been working for 100+ years that if you apply them over here, they'll continue to work. And I started thinking about that. I was like, that's the secret. I need to teach people the strategies that supersede any of the tactical things. And so as soon as I got that, I was like, okay, I can write the book now. And I started, and obviously, I'm writing this while I'm running ClickFunnels and a family and a million other things. And so every night I would carve out 2 or 3 hours to sit and think and write and brainstorm. And it took about 18 months or so from like started writing till we got it done. and now it's here, and it's so fun to finally be able to share it with everybody. So it's pretty cool.
Dude, it's so good. I've been listening to the audiobook. I finally got my advanced copy, physical copy too. So it's incredible. And you did it. Like you were able to take this concept that's constantly changing. But I think one of the things that you do that's so incredible is that you're a student of the game, right? So you correct me if I'm wrong, but you've studied like every single marketer in the world, like living, dead, like not to mention marketing, but storytelling and all these different topics and all these complex things. And somehow it seems like you have this ability to take these super complicated things, all this information, and then like boil it down to like literally a little stick figure drawing of like, here's how this concept works. Here's the step-by-step and here's what it looks like. And I'm wondering, like for me, and I think for so many people, we start studying something, we get excited, and there's like all this different information. We're like, oh, that's cool, and that's cool, and it's like this information overload, and then we get stuck. And yet somehow you seem to have the ability to like take all this information and process it and boil it down, which is part of why these books are so amazing. And I guess my question is, like, is there a framework for that? Is there some way that you think about doing that? Taking all that information in and then figuring out what is effective, what is the efficient thing, how do I actually apply this?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Like when I first started learning this game, and I was reading the books and listening to all, and like just trying to consume it all. It's same thing. I was learning, I was getting it, but like I didn't know how to like put it down. And I remember I started this business when I was wrestling in Boise State, and so we'd go on these long road trips with the whole wrestling team, and it was before MP3 players. So I would like download teleseminars, burn them on CDs, and I have a CD player with like, and I'd be listening to like all these old school guys with my headphones, listening on the CD while we were driving on these long road trips. And as I listened to them, I listened to 5 or 6 or 7 CDs on one trip, to Oregon or something, and then on the way back another. And I was like, I'm learning all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know like where to go with it, because it's so many things, and they're all, there's no sequence or order. It's just a lot of ideas. And so I used to sit in my notebook and just doodle like, okay, as I was getting closer to like the last 30-minute drive back to Boise, okay, all the stuff I just learned, like if I'm going to break this down into like step 1, 2, 3, like, what's that actually look like? Because I can't do all of them at once, but like, what's the first thing I need to do, and the second, and the third? And I would just draw little doodles like, hey, first I need to figure out this piece, and then from there, draw a little arrow, and then I got to do this part. And I would take all the stuff I learned and try to put it into a step-by-step little, like a process flow with little doodles, because I just would do little characters to remind myself what they meant. And so that's how I started learning this stuff. And so I would read a book, and then I'm like, hey, based on everything I learned here, like what I need to do, like what's step 1, 2, 3, and I would do a little thing, and like, oh, I had it. And so my brain started thinking that way. And then when I would like get new information coming in, a lot of time it wasn't like I need a new doodle. It was just like, oh, wait, I learned about this over here. That's a really good idea. What if I added that here? And all of a sudden, like, oh, now it's even cooler. And then like I learned something else. Like, oh, I can add that here. And I started like, because you learn little things, I would plug them in. And so for me, like the last 10 years is so much. It's like a treasure hunt. Like you go to an event or seminar and you listen. And I'm not listening for like the whole process, because I kind of have my processes figured out. I'm looking for like that nugget of gold, like, oh, that one little thing, if I apply it right there, like that changes everything. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's what I'm always doing now, is just looking for those pieces. So hopefully these books give you guys like an overarching framework to understand like the core principles. But then it's like, like what are the nuggets you can plug in that you learn or you observe other people do, or you see that all of a sudden it's like that little piece is, drives that, changes everything for you. So anyway, that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think the benefit to us is your, decade plus of experience of doing all of that. That's the reason why, like I said, like I'm not exaggerating when I literally say like the framework in here, what I learned from here is how I built my 7-figure business. And I think it's because you've done that process for us. And so I really appreciate you for that. And then also like what you said is cool too, is like, okay, now you've got that. Now, how can I play within that framework of like, here's how this worked. Like, let me try tweaking this little thing or doing something different for my audience. And then it becomes really fun. So
that was what was fun at Fun Liking Live. I was watching on stage. It was cool because it's like you're taking these things and like here's my tweaks on it, my changes, and like people are flipping out in the audience. They're like, I never even saw that before, right? But it's cool because everyone can bring their own unique experiences, like their own art to the frameworks, and then it's just like it becomes this whole new thing, and it's like so exciting. I love it.
It's a fun game, man. It's so fun. That's another gift that I feel like you've given me and so many other people, is to take this concept of marketing and make it not something that's kind of boring and dry and something you have to do, but something that, like, it's so fun. Like, I love it. Like, it's like the part of my day that I love the most. And I love making music. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I still love doing that, but the marketing is so fun. So thank you for that gift. And also, it's been so cool to me. Now I see music producers reach out to me and they say the same thing, like, oh, like, I heard you talk about this or whatever. And now, like, I'm so excited about that. And to me, that's like so cool, because not only is it so fun and such a fun game to get into, but it's the reason why I'm able to make a living from my music. And it's the reason why now these other guys are too. So thank you. Thank you for that gift as well. Just one other thing.
It's funny. I remember I used to go to these marketing seminars when I was getting started, and I walk in and everyone's like in a suit and tie, and they're all business people, and they're sitting there all proper, taking notes. And I'm in the back, like, freaking out. I'm like, why is nobody excited? Like we need some energy here. And I remember when we started Funnel Hacking Live, I was like, how do we like, I need the energy of the, like, I want this room to be as excited as I am about these concepts. Cause I remember sitting there being so confused, like, why are people not freaking out as you're learning these things, these concepts? And we've tried our best to try to make it like a fun, cool thing. So I appreciate you saying that. It makes me feel good.
I think you do an amazing job at that. So let's get a little bit into some sort of tactics and some specifics. So one thing, like, I know for me is most of my audience is in the music world, either on the side of being music producers or like rappers and singers. And so a lot of times they're like, well, what content do I post? And so what they end up posting usually is like, here's my music, like, here's my music with just like a static image or like a music video or something. And that's it. And that's all they post. And I know that it's so important to post different stuff. And one of the things that you talked about in Traffic Secrets is this thing called the JK5 method, which I thought was pretty cool. So I was wondering maybe if you could give some advice, as like, what should people post other than just, let's say, their music or their product or whatever?
Yeah. So the JK5 came from Jenna Kuchar, who's she's amazing. She taught me that concept, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Cause I struggled as well. Like, you know, like when I got started at Instagram or Facebook, and I was like, what do I post? I post the same thing every day. And what's interesting is it makes you seem very like a one-sided person. And what she said, okay, pick 5 categories that you're passionate about in your life. Like, what are the 5 things that you're most passionate about? And make a category. So for mine, in fact, if you go to page number, I'm not sure it is, but I'm excited about my family, about funnels, about faith, about entrepreneurship, about personal development. Those are the things that I geek out on the most. Those are my 5 categories. And what I did is on my phone, in my photo album, I made like 5 photo albums, one for each of the different 5. And so when I'm doing stuff, I take pictures of me and my kids, my kids and I, how do you say that properly? My kids and I'll put it in my family folder. And then if I'm like building a funnel, I'll take a picture of that or make a video of that. And if I'm at church, I'll get I'm trying to create content on each of these different things. And then what happens is, as you start posting, you kind of rotate through these 5 different things. So I'll post one on my family, and then one on funnels, and one on entrepreneurship, and one on faith, and one on personal development. And I start back over, and I start doing that. What's interesting is when I started doing that, it was crazy to me, because I didn't know how that would, like, what would happen. But what was interesting is I started looking at, for example, my family. So my daughter plays soccer, and I'd go to soccer games, meet other soccer parents, and get to know them, right? And the first thing they're all doing is like, who is this person? And they all start following each other, and all of a sudden, people from my family, like the family life, started following me, right? And they don't care about funnels or business or anything. All they care about is Russell and his family. So, every 5 posts, I see a picture of me and my kids. They're like, oh, there's Russell and his family, right? And then faith, like at church, I go to church and stuff. People know who I am, and they follow me because they want to hear my beliefs here. And then funnels. And so, like, different people from your world start following you based on different things. And also they come in and they see you talking about your family. And then all of a sudden, like they see a post about your business or about funnel or something different else. And also, like, because they care about this one aspect of your life, they start being curious about the other ones, right? Whereas before, if someone from my daughter's soccer game would have followed me, they would have seen like funnel, and they're like, this guy's boring, and they would have left. But instead, they're like, his family, oh, his faith, oh, what's his business? And then back to family. And like, now they're connected to me as a whole human. And what's crazy about this, this was not by design, but last year's Funnel Hacking Live, there were 5 people who go to church with me, who I did not invite to the event. I did not give them free tickets, but they followed me because they wanted to know who my family was. And within like 3 or 4 months, they were bought all in. They bought the books. They're changing the business. They showed up Funnel Hacking Live because of that concept. And so I think that's really the way. It makes you more well-rounded, and it gets people coming from different aspects of your life, and they start immersing themselves in all aspects of your life, which then opens up the doors to conversations that you may not have had otherwise, right? Like I can have religious conversations with people from business that I never could do before, or I could have business conversations with religious people that I never had before because I wasn't sharing all aspects of my life. And so that's kind of how the JK5 works.
Totally. I love that. It's awesome. Gives a great framework for like, what do I post? And I was like, oh yeah, okay, let me pick my 5 things and then let me rotate through those. I think that's awesome. So, okay. So now we're posting some great content. We're posting a variety of content. We're keeping people interested and engaged. We're growing our following on whatever, let's say Instagram. Then from there, you talk about the importance of taking that traffic, which is traffic that technically Mark Zuckerberg owns, right? It's on his platform, and then converting it into traffic you own. So I'm wondering, maybe you can talk about what that looks like, why that's important, that of traffic you own compared to traffic you don't own.
Yeah. So in the book, I talk about there's basically 3 types of traffic. So the first 2 are the ones that most people know about, right? The first is like traffic you control. So you go and Mark Zuckerberg owns traffic. He lets us come and buy ads so we can control it. He still owns it, but we can control it and send it somewhere, right? And there's traffic you earn. So for example, right now I'm coming to you and I'm working my way in and we're earning this and you're going to post it to your people. And like, I didn't pay you for this ad or this message or this story, but like it's going to show up. So I earned that traffic. But then the goal of both of these because both these traffic are good, but they're not great. The best traffic is traffic that you own. This is the traffic you own it. You can do whatever you want with it, right? And so the traffic that I own is like my email list, my messenger list, like things where I can wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I want to launch a new book. And I can click a couple buttons and I can send traffic somewhere and it doesn't cost me new money. It's just, I can send it there because I own that traffic. And so in all of our businesses, like that's the goal of buying ads and getting free traffic. The only goal of those is to convert it to traffic that I own. So like right now, you guys will see my evil ulterior motive. Like right now we're on this interview, I'm working my way in. At the end, we're going to tell you guys to go get a free copy of the book. When you do that, you're going to have to give me your email address. And then we're going to ship you out a copy of this book. And now you'll be on my list. And now you're traffic that I own. Now I can communicate with you. I can tell you about ClickFunnels. I can tell you about other things we have. I can, you know what I mean? Now it's traffic that I own. And like, that's really the game. So for all of you guys, it's figuring out like, what is something, like what's a bribe? What's a lead magnet? What's a product? Something that I can give away to people that they'll come and they'll trade me in exchange for my email address. And if you can figure those things out, like that's the goal. In fact, we had, about 2 years ago, we wrote this little PDF ebook and it was like, I went through my podcast. I just pulled out 100 cool things from my podcast and made a little ebook. We put it up online. And it was like, whatever. It's like literally a headline, picture of the ebook, and a place for the email address. And that little form has gotten, I think last time I checked, it was like over 300 and something thousand people have given me their email address to get that free book. And so 300,000 people have now on my email list, and I can send emails to those people whenever I want. If I have like a crazy idea where like, I want to do a webinar tomorrow to talk about blah, I can just send an email and boom, within minutes, there's thousands of people all coming to that spot. And that's when you really control, like when you have your own list, that's the control in business, right? Because we have no idea tomorrow if Mark Zuckerberg is going to decide, I don't like Russell, or I'm going to shut down his ad account or whatever. And it happens all the time. We see it in the ClickFunnels community all the time. People are like, my ads account got shut down. What do I do? I'm like, well, if you haven't, if you've been smart about the last 6 months or year, however long you've been doing this, you've been building your list. And while it may be painful to lose it for a little while, you still have a list that you can still sell things to, you can still communicate, and you're not out of business. And so this book is a lot about like, how do you prepare yourself for the inevitable? And it's focusing on that third type of traffic, like building traffic that you own, because that's really the secret when all said and done.
Yeah, no, totally. I had this page open right here, the introduction. It says there's a storm coming, which ties into exactly what you just said of like, being prepared for all these changes, your Facebook ad getting your ad account getting shut down, which happens all the time, or an even bigger shift as these cycles happen. And so you've already kind of talked about, how understanding this bigger picture, helps get you through that. But another type of storm that we are experiencing right now is this sort of economic storm, right? And that's going on with coronavirus and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm wondering, how do you think about traffic differently, if you do, the way that you, I don't know, speak to people, or should we shut off all our ads now that the economy is going, is maybe going down? Should we, should we change the messaging? Anything? I'm just curious, how do we approach traffic now with those changes?
Well, the good news, I think, for everybody right now is understanding that right now traffic costs are dropping dramatically. I read an article saying that Facebook's losing $40 billion because of the coronavirus right now, based on what we know, because so many advertisers are pulling out. And so ad costs are dropping. And so now is actually like the best time to spend, like shifting your mindset to that. the thing that does need to change though, is you do have to change how you position your ads. And in the first secret here in Traffic Secrets, I talk about your dream customer. And I mentioned that like, if someone's coming to buy something from you, they're always moving towards you in a direction. Either they're moving towards pleasure or they're moving away from pain. And that's really important to understand, because over the last 7 to 10 years, the economy has been so good that most people are in a spot where that things are good, they're happy, and they're moving towards pleasure. Like they're coming to you because like, oh, I want a better life. I want to make more money. I want to look better. I want to feel better. Like they're moving because they want to move towards pleasure. So because of that, most of the advertising has been talking about, how this product's going to get you 6-pack abs or make you more, like that's been the advertising. But what happened the last couple of weeks is that the whole economy, like the world economy as a whole, has all shifted to pain. Like everyone's now in fear and in pain and kind of freaking out. And so you look at now, if you keep talking about how your product's going to move someone towards pleasure, like for most people, they're not listening to that right now. They're in so much pain. They don't care about pleasure. They just want to get out of pain. And so if you shift your marketing to explain like how the product or service that I sell right now will get you out of pain, then people will listen. Like that's what they're looking for. That's the hooks that they're going to be responding to right now, not the other way around. And so it's funny because like the Traffic Secrets book launch happened, like we started the day that like Trump was like, everyone stay at home. And if you look at like my plan was like, let me show you how we built ClickFunnels to $100 million with traffic and how to scale your company. And like, those were the like moving people towards pleasure. And I was like, wait, don't, like, we need to shift our message and talk about how this will get people out of pain. Like it's the same product with different message. And it's funny because Dean Graciosi, who wrote the foreword for the book, he messaged me right about the same time. And Dean, if you don't know who Dean is, he used to be an infomercial guy, and he had an infomercial about how to make money in real estate. And if you look at like 2007, beginning 2008, like there were a million, like, I don't know, it's probably 30 or 40 different people who had real estate infomercials. And it was funny because all of them were like, how to get rich in real estate. And they're all killing it. Like anyone who ever flipped a house before had a real estate infomercial, and they were like teaching people how to make money in real estate. And then 2008 happened, markets crashed, and you look at, from 30 or 40 infomercials, within like a month and a half, it was down to just one, and it was Dean. And Dean's infomercial lasted the entire recession and blew up afterwards. And his company actually grew every single month during the recession, teaching people how to make money in real estate. And so I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, Dean, how did you do that? Because like, obviously we're doing that same thing right now. Like, how did you thrive when everyone else got demolished? And he said, the only thing I did different, he's like, everybody else kept saying the same message. He kept saying, we're moving towards pleasure, like how to get rich in real estate. And he's like, I realized that message was falling on deaf ears right now. He's like, I transitioned my message. Instead of being aspirational, I showed how what I teach is actually a life preserver that will protect you in today's market. He's like, I made that shift, and then all the people came to me. And so for everyone who's listening, it's like, think about your product, your service. How is the thing that you sell, how is it getting people out of pain? And like when you can understand that, like that's the message that's going to work right now, especially right now. And I don't know if it's a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, but right now people are not trying to get towards pleasure, they're trying to get out of pain. And if you can solve that pain for them, the money will be transferred over to you. And that's kind of the biggest shift right now.
Yeah, man. No, that totally makes sense. So don't shut off your ads, spend more, because right now is the best time than ever, because everybody else is scared and shutting off their ads. So you're going to get even better, lower cost per acquisition, all that good stuff. And it just sounds like that subtle shift in your messaging is going to make all the difference in the world.
For sure.
So that's awesome. So by now, everybody very clearly understands why they need to get this book, right? Very, very clearly. And I have put together some bonuses. Now I have 3 different audiences. Kids, don't try this at home. Focus on one audience and getting them one result, please. But anyways, I've got music producers, I've got rappers and singers, and then I've also got, marketers, entrepreneurs, funnel hackers, 3 separate bonuses. So if you go to Gabe's, let me get this right. If you go to gabestrafficbonuses.com, you're going to see those 3 different offers. We have incredible bonuses just for you guys. You guys already know you need to get the book, but I have incredible bonuses for each one of you guys specifically, and why you should get that on top of just, you obviously already know you need this. Now, one more question I want to ask. Are we okay on time for a couple more minutes?
Sure.
Okay, so I noticed behind you that you have this very beautiful box set. Now, I have these 3 books. We've talked about Traffic Secrets. I've talked about these other 2 books and why they're literally life-changing. But like, this looks kind of cool, but it doesn't look nearly as cool as what you've got there.
The full box set.
So I'm very jealous. Can you please let me and everybody else know, first of all, what's the difference between this and that, and how do we get that?
Yes. All right. So the only way to get this right now is after you buy the Traffic Secrets book for free, just cover shipping, handling. The first upsell is the box set. And what happened is after when I published this one, I decided to publish with Hay House. It was funny because they're like, we want to make it a hardbound book. I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. And I'm like, oh, my other two books aren't hardbound. And I was like, wait, if I bought the rights back from my old publisher, could we republish all three of them as hardbounds? And they're like, sure. So I bought the rights back from my other publisher, and then I added in. They gave me a little window of time to edit the books if I wanted to. So, for example, like .com Secrets, the first version that was in your hands was 58,000 words. With this one, I actually deleted 30,000. It ended up being 94,000 words. So it's almost twice as big as the original. It's so many fun things in here. And the same thing with Expert Secrets, like they're both updated hardbound. And so that's what the 3 books are. And then this is Unlock the Secrets, which is like a workbook that goes with these 3 books. And so when you go through the funnel and you go through the upsell, you have an opportunity to get this whole entire box set for $100. So anyway, hopefully you do, because it's really, really cool. So
okay, that is absolutely insane. I've already obviously ordered mine. You guys all should as well. But I got to ask you, so like you mentioned that you basically took these 2 books and basically rewrote them. It sounds like you added so much, you completely changed them. Now you guys, you and everybody else listening just heard me talk about how literally life-changing these 2 books were and how much of an impact they had on me. And I'm not the only one. I mean, there's, I don't know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who swear by these books, who have read these books over and over again. Did it scare you to go back and change these books that like everybody says are like so incredible and life-changing? Like that would scare, I would not touch it ever. I'd be like, I did it. I'm good. I can retire. Like what made you do that? And then also like, was that super scary? Like explain, please.
It literally, I had the same fear, like, what if I mess these things up? What's interesting is like when I wrote the first 2 books, they were very much like my experience. Like .com Secrets was written. I spent 10 years doing this business, and then based on what I learned, I like this is the book. And then that was about the time we launched ClickFunnels, so it was almost 5.5 years ago. And the last 5.5 years, it's been all these people like you who are taking these principles and applying them and seeing it. And now it's like I have so much more feedback. Before it was just here's my experience. Now it's like here's my experience plus what I've seen 100,000 other funnel hackers do. And it was like I'm forgetting like there's funnels I never even talked about in this book that are like they're such a huge part. Like I need to add this in here and this in here, and there's things I learned about the value ladder that are better, that are different. That so I don't think anything got taken away, but it was just like it was like more understanding of like not only did this work for me, let me show you how it worked for other people as well, and sharing their case studies and their stories so you can see it in a more holistic view. And and there were some things that I put in the book initially that worked really good for my type of business, but they weren't so good for other types of businesses. So I kind of, some of those things I took out, and other things that are just more universal to work in all businesses, I put those things back in, and I tried to have more stuff so that it's easier for people to do what you did, which you were able to take this and then think through like, how do I make these changes to work for my business? I tried to add a lot more of those things in there to help people to be able to brainstorm and be able to think like a marketer a lot easier. And so I don't think anything got lost, hopefully, in translation. Tell me if you read them, you're like, oh, you ruined it, Russell. But I think it just hopefully added to it and just made it a whole, like another, like multidimensional. Instead of just my experiences, it's my experiences plus hundreds of thousands of other people's. And like, this is what we've learned. And here's the updated new stuff. But I'm never touching it again. Now that they're done, I'm never allowed to touch it again, except for I just found out I spelled Tim Ferriss's name wrong in Traffic Secrets. Andrew Warner just told me, so I got to fix that.
Whoops. Well, okay. Let me just say real quickly about that. Like I mentioned before how extremely excited I was about Traffic Secrets. I cannot wait to read the new versions of those. Like I like Russell, Russell is being humble. Just so you guys know, like I'm positive, without having gotten a chance to read those, that those updates are incredible. Like everything that Russell puts out is, it's hard for me to exaggerate. Like it's life-changing. Like it's literally changed my life. And so go through the, when you get Traffic Secrets, grab that box set because you're going to want those updated versions. I cannot wait to read those updated versions because, like I said, the impact that the old versions had. And by the way, I can say too, like now reading Traffic Secrets, also seeing how you've developed as a storyteller, the way that you've, all of the concepts are there in .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, but an additional layer here is, I think, your ability to convey them on another level even. And so I'm so excited to see that level of expertise and the way that you're able to craft this and then now go back and apply that to those other two books is like so cool. So absolutely cannot wait to get those. Highly recommend all of you guys need to get those as well. Which if you go to, what did I say? I got to get this right. Gabe'sTrafficBonuses.com. You'll see the 3 different bonus offers. And then from there, that's going to take you to Russell's books, where you can get Traffic Secrets. You can get Traffic Secrets. It's free. You just got to cover shipping. It's like, was it $9.95? So like, it's such a no-brainer, not to mention the like thousands of dollars of free bonuses I'm going to give you on top of that. But while you're there, get the audiobook for Traffic Secrets, get the box set so that you get the updated version of .com Secrets and Expert Secrets. That is really what I wanted to cover today. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to be here today. I appreciate you so much for everything that you've done for me, for my business, and the result of that, for my family, for literally it's affected every single part of my life, of the people around me, I could go on. And that's something that I know that you have done for so many other people as well. So on behalf of myself and all of them, I just want to thank you for everything you've done. Appreciate you,
thanks, man. That means the world to me. So I grateful to be here, and hopefully it helps your audience as well. But man, I just appreciate you. And like I said, it's been so much fun watching you over the last 1.5 to 2 years, and just see what you're doing. It's inspirational. So thank you for what you're doing as well. And it's been a lot of fun. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys love the new book.
Yes, everybody go to Gabe'sTrafficBonuses.com. Go grab Traffic Secrets. Go get that. Trust me, it's going to be life-changing. Russell, I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I will talk to all of you guys later.
Thanks, everybody.